we got a note today on behalf of Ignacio, reminding us that it is the policy of the camp plant for pets not to be unleashed and to clean up after one's pets. I kind of felt like
that was
these notes are aimed at me. They make it seem like they went to everybody, but I don't know. It doesn't help that Biscuit just lords it over everybody that she has a 3-wheel bicycle and no other dogs around here do.
She's privileged.
Very much so. And she doesn't check her privilege at the doggy door. Right, Jen?
Talking about the important things.
That's right. All right, we'll be quick because I know you guys have things, and also we have a big interview with Jim Ryan tomorrow, so we want to save our bullets. We want to save our minutes for that. Well, the news today was that AB's decided to sell its branch in Hawaii. So a couple things about that. One is they've always had notoriously low share in Hawaii. It's a problem market. It's hard to make money there. Everything's expensive, fuel especially, and labor, and the product itself. So just the logistics, there's all those islands, just getting the beer all around in those islands is hard. And, Odom has experience there, and I don't know if it was a DOJ issue, kind of a backroom, you guys need to take care of this type thing or not. It certainly wasn't public that they had to do this. My question right now is what happens with Kona on the island? Because they had to sell as part of the Craft Beer Alliance deal. I'm wondering if now that they've sold the Hawaii distribution rights, that they can go back and cut a deal with the private equity firm run by Dave Peacock that bought it or whatever. God, yeah. What is the NAD? Fuck, go away.
What do you mean cut a deal with them?
So what was the deal? Explain like I'm a 5-year-old.
Yeah, so after they bought CBA, soon after that, they just kind of preemptively spun off Kona.
Yeah, the PV, right?
Yeah, the brand and the eminent brewery in Hawaii. So AB has no rights to Kona in that state.
But the branch still distributed Kona at that point, right? Yeah. So now it's going to go to Odom. So they'll just, I think that was probably a big part of the reason, like we're just saying, right? I don't think that'll be an issue. That's why they're doing it. Even if it's not a DOJ thing, they're doing it because they want Kona from Odom's perspective,
Yeah, I mean, I know why Odom. I'm wondering why AB was compelling them to do this. I mean, like I said, Hawaii is a shitty market. I get that. It's hard to make money. I get that. That's kind of the reason why AB was there in the first place. I mean, that's, nobody likes doing beer in Manhattan. Nobody likes selling beer in Hawaii. Nobody likes selling beer in these certain markets that are really hard, usually the branch.
But don't they have a volume cap for the amount of, volume that can go through their branches? So maybe they're getting their bullets ready for another acquisition elsewhere where they can be more profitable.
That could very well be it. Yeah, this 10%, is their self-imposed volume cap. And this is shedding about, 4 or 5 million cases. It's really not that much.
Point something of there.
Yeah. I mean, strategically, it probably makes more sense for them to own Kona than a money-losing distributorship on the island. They don't own Kona, and that there's no indication that they will own Kona on the island, but or that they can even with the divestiture. But they do have a relationship with the owners of Kona.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now. So you're saying that now that they got rid of the branch, they can go back and buy the
yes, they
branch.
can go back. They're free to go back and buy the whole thing. And my question is, was this the plan all along? In other words, Did they bring in Dave Peacock, who they
Yeah.
trust, an old executive, and say, hey, we need to do this as basically just a financial transaction to hold on to it for 6 months until we can get our ducks in a row and get rid of this distributorship, and then we'll buy it back for you at a prearranged price. Isn't that what investment banking is? Isn't that the very definition? Isn't that why Redwood Capital bought Silver Eagle Houston, not San Antonio?
Yeah.
Isn't that why Redwood Capital bought Pepin, Tampa? And why would it, because nobody else is big enough to buy those companies except for the brewery. The brewery can't buy those companies. Why? Texas and Florida, they can't own parts of a distributorship legally.
Yeah. I think
even besides that, there's an antitrust issue.
I think the problem is their market share still in Hawaii would be
giant,
outrageous.
Yeah.
With AB and then Kona.
Right.
I don't know if they could do that. But it's an interesting thought. Go ahead, Jen.
Well, why wouldn't they just divest of the branch if that's all they wanted to do anyway? I mean, nothing stopped them from doing that.
Right. That's what I'm trying to divine that why now,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it is very odd timing. That's for sure.
I mean, look, it's a shitty asset. They probably didn't get much for it, if anything. It's off their balance sheet, I guess, which is good. Maybe they paid down a little debt, but
maybe Odom has its motives and lobbied them. I don't know.
It is kind of.
Odom has its motives is because you can't make money on those islands unless you have scale.
Right.
So that's just, but that's what I'm saying. Odom probably got it for free. And when I say free, I don't really mean free. I just mean assumption of debts and stuff like that,
Yeah. But it is kind of crazy that Odom has been there for, I don't know how long, I think a decade or two, maybe, just distributing craft brands and Coca-Cola. And the fact that they that's all they distribute made it perfect for AB, because had they had Molson Coors and Constellation, I don't think there's any way AB could have pawned that off to them, because then they would have had every single brand, and then that would raise more flags for the DOJ.
Yeah, but they do have Molson Coors and Constellation in their other markets. But Jordan says they don't have them in.
Yeah, Paradise Beverages has Molson Coors and Constellation in Hawaii.
And that one wasn't that owned by Anderson?
I think so.
It's all so confusing. Oh wait, Anderson still owns Paradise.
I believe so.
Okay. Now hold on. I want to make sure I have it straight. So what we have is one of the largest ex-Anheuser-Busch wholesalers owning the Molson Coors wholesaler on Hawaii. And now we have the largest brewer in the world selling their own distribution rights to a large Molson Coors wholesaler from the mainland.
Yeah. And Constellation.
Am I getting this all straight?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all backwards. Yeah.
Okay. And we're supposed to believe that this isn't a duopoly and that we're not.
Right. Well,
I mean, times have changed. I mean, good God, there's so many people I can think of right now who are spinning in their graves, But,
well, Hawaii is practically a different country. It takes 10 friggin' hours to get there from anywhere.
Yeah.
But still.
But Jen's going to hopefully talk to them later today. And I'm really curious about the transition of things. Like, does Odom keep a lot of those employees that have been so focused on nothing but AB brands? And
I think so. Yeah.
And does Odom reevaluate that whole entire portfolio? Because I bet there's a lot of junk in there that is only there because it's a AB branch,
Oh, well.
Yeah. And they get all the Beyond Beer stuff too, I would assume, which I'm sure they're happy to have, because I'm not sure if they have it on the island, but they also have a lot of craft spirits and wine. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting.
Odom's they're good operators. They've been around a long time. always had lots of skis, even back before it was cool. I remember, gosh, when I was doing work for Denver Management Consulting back in the late 90s, doing work for Odom up there, they've always been forward thinking folks. Anyway, it's just interesting that things that you never thought would ever happen are just happening kind of every day.
Whatever it's worth, they kind of remind me of Columbia, like a kind of a mini Columbia, right? I mean, they've got the same footprint, they've got a very similar book. I'm not sure what that means, but
they're kind of a old school Columbia.
Yeah. So you know what else is funny? When we saw for a little sausage, if you will, when we saw the presser for this yesterday, we were like, AB1, what is that? And then they had to remind us that, well, this is what we changed the name of the branches to last year. But we almost missed it. We're like, oh, this is more like charitable stuff. This isn't good.
Right. Yeah. AB1.
Oh, shit.
Helping
you guys
hands.
are selling your Hawaii branch.
Hands can help together with AB1. We can build a better future.
Exactly.
AB1,
one player in the market.
She's got up and walked away at any thought of charity work. She's like, I'm out. Biscuit, don't worry. I'm not gonna sign you up. Jeez. This deal is a neutral transaction for AB. It's immaterial, basically, I would think. As far as like cash flow versus balance, what they gave up versus what they're getting. The other thing I thought was interesting today was that Andy England is running a vodka company. What's it called?
Well, the distilling company is Phillips 99.
Yeah, Phillips 99. And Andy, of course, was the CEO of Miller Coors for many years, and CMO, right? I think the funny about it is that he's positioning this vodka as the world's most refreshing vodka. And guess what? It also has monochromatic or whatever, temperature chromatic. What's it called? Temperature sensitive ink on it, so it turns blue when it gets cold.
At least you didn't put the mountains on there. But like, well, Molson Coors doesn't own mountains.
There's so many things that are funny about this. One, that he has the moxie to just blatantly take this exact same tagline, same packaging technique or gimmick, really packaging gimmick, and just applying it just wholesale from one brand to the next brand where he goes, just unapologetically. I mean, Sarah said she talked to him earlier and there was no fucks given or taken. Like, he just says, yeah. And the other thing is that I find funny is that he didn't even come up with that marketing campaign at Coors. It was Fritz von Paschen, his predecessor, that rode herd over that campaign. And Andy rode the success of it out. And I'm not saying, Andy's a good marketer, I'm sure, but I just think it's funny that he's like, I'm taking what works. And if it's exactly what worked, we're not going to even try to make any subtle nuances or changes to it. So, hey, you know what? I can't wait to see the Coltrane commercial that comes out. And the funny thing about that is that Coors stole that whole concept from Miller Genuine Draft. So from the 80s, I mean, the theft of all of this goes back far and far and far. Biscuit, you need to get up back on the security train here. What's wrong with you?
It is kind of funny that they're doing it to a vodka bottle, though. Like somebody's like, just sitting on their hands waiting for their vodka bottle to turn blue so they can pour something. Like with beer, I get it. You're gonna have a few. You want it to be cold, but the vodka bottle is gonna sit in there overnight. It's gonna be blue pretty much all the time.
Yeah, and what is refreshing? Like, I've just mowed the lawn I can't wait to come in and have a nice big shot of vodka.
Swig of my frozen vodka.
Yeah, I mean, that's not refreshing at all. That's what makes me want to vomit. I mean, it's the most dehydrating thing in the world. let me just pour this sand into my right down to my mouth.
The sand.
Well, God bless you, Andy England. You know, he's right on the nose. Well, he's British. His name's Andy England. He's all about being on the nose. All right, Biscuit. Yeah. Don't let me wake you. I guess that's all I want to talk about for that. And but looking forward. So that's at 11 tomorrow, right, Jen? And
Yep.
do you have some questions for him?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, Harry. They wanted, well, first of all, the angle is they want to talk about the charity, right? They do research funding, and that's right. What they think they're going to talk about.
All right, we'll get that through that. Yeah.
And I gave them 5 questions, and I sprinkled them with the pepper. We're saving the salsa for tomorrow. So they just got a little taste, see what it tastes like. So.
That's right, little taste. Whenever I talk like that, Biscuit perks up because she's like, "Oh, we're going on a bike ride. Come on, we're getting the bike."
But I did tell them there would be some improvisation, so they've been warned.
I think Jim knows what he's getting into.
Yeah,
this ain't his first rodeo.
That's
all right, guys. Well, good job. Thank you for drinking beer. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right.